Have you ever noticed how hospitals are constantly urgently asking for specific blood donations? Well, there's a huge reason for that. Some blood types are absolutely desperately needed in trauma centers literally everywhere. Others, they're so incredibly rare they're basically biological unicorns. And get this, certain types are even linked to subtle changes in your disease risks. Welcome to The Explainer. Let's get into it.
So did you know your blood type might actually influence way more than just who can donate blood to you? It's true. The stakes of understanding your own biology go way, way beyond just a simple letter and a plus or minus sign on your medical chart.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We're going to start by decoding the building blocks of your blood type. Then, we'll take a tour through the groups, the mighty O, the common A, and the really rare B and AB groups. And finally, we're going to wrap up by busting some myths about compatibility.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, decoding the literal building blocks of your biology.
Okay, so before we can understand the 8 different blood groups, we have to look at the 2 major systems that actually decide them. First up is the ABO system. And honestly, what's really fascinating here is just how simple the mechanism is. It relies entirely on specific markers sitting right there on the surface of your red blood cells. It's kind of like a tiny name tag. If you have the A marker, you're type A. Got the B marker, you're type B. If you happen to have both, you're AB. And if you have neither of these markers, well, you're type O.
But hey, that is only half the story. The second major system is the Rh factor. And this really just boils down to the presence or the absence of one specific protein called the RhD protein in your blood. This is exactly the thing that adds that little positive or negative sign to your ABO letter.
It brilliantly illustrates the binary at play here. It's actually super clear-cut. An A-positive blood type means you have the A markers plus that RhD protein. An A-negative type? Well, that means you have the A markers, but you completely lack that protein. Simple as that.
So you're probably wondering, why does any of this actually matter? Well, think of your immune system as a fiercely strict bouncer at a super exclusive club. Unfamiliar blood cell markers? Those are instantly recognized as foreign invaders. If doctors don't meticulously match blood during a transfusion, your immune system's bouncer is going to aggressively attack those unrecognized markers, and you definitely don't want that.
So when you do the math and combine those ABO markers with the Rh positive or negative factor, you end up with exactly 8 major blood types. Let's take a quick, structured tour through each of these groups to see what makes every single one uniquely fascinating.
Moving on to Section 2, let's talk about the mighty O group, the emergency heroes and everyday lifesavers.
We gotta start with O negative. This is literally the ultimate emergency blood. Why? Because its red blood cells completely lack A, B, and RhD markers. Remember our club bouncer analogy? Because O negative essentially has no name tags or markers, it can often sneak right past the immune system unnoticed. This makes it an absolute VIP in emergency medicine, when doctors just don't have time to figure out a patient's blood type. The catch? These donors are pretty uncommon, which makes their donations incredibly valuable.
Now, contrasting that universal donation ability of O negative, we have O positive. This one is actually one of the most common blood types out there, and it's frequently used for Rh-positive patients. But here's the twist. Even though they are super common donors, people with O-positive blood can generally only receive red cells from O-positive or O-negative donors. It's a bit of a one-way street.
All right, into Section 3. Let's look at the common A group, which actually makes up the global majority.
Within this massive global majority, the contrast between positive and negative is actually pretty stark. A-negative is quite uncommon. Because of that, compatible donations can sometimes be a real headache for hospitals to track down, since A-negative folks can only receive from A-negative and O-negative. On the flip side, A-positive is one of the most common blood groups in the entire world. They've got a much wider pool to pull from, receiving blood from A-positive, A-negative, O-positive, or O-negative.
Now here's a super fascinating piece of science straight from our source regarding type A. Research has actually found links between A-type blood and certain clotting-related risks. But hold on, don't panic. Keep in mind that a risk factor is not a guarantee. Having A-type blood absolutely does not mean you're definitely going to develop these conditions. It's really just a brilliant example of how our blood types might link to broader aspects of our biological health.
Up next, Section 4. Let's dive into the rare B and AB groups, the truly uncommon combinations.
Starting with the B group, B negative really stands out as one of the rarer types out there.
It can donate to B and AB types, both positive and negative. But if someone with B negative blood actually needs a transfusion themselves, their compatible donor options are way more limited. B positive, meanwhile, is less common than your O positive or A positive, but it is still an incredibly crucial blood group with a slightly wider range of receiving options.
And now we reach what you could honestly call the rare unicorn of blood types, AB negative. This group features both the A and the B markers, but totally lacks the RHD protein. Because it is so incredibly uncommon, donations from AB negative individuals are highly prized in the medical world to help a whole variety of negative blood type patients.
The AB group as a whole brilliantly illustrates the ultimate contrast. Think about AB positive. It's widely known as the universal red cell recipient, meaning someone with AB positive can generally receive red cells from literally any ABO and RH blood group. Talk about hitting the jackpot, right? But when it comes to giving, AB positive has a super narrow range. They generally only donate to other AB positive patients.
Finally, Section 5. Myths, compatibility, and you. It's time to separate fact from fiction.
So after looking at all these universal donors, universal recipients, and rare biological unicorns, it naturally brings up a highly subjective question. Which blood type is actually the best? I'll let you just think about that for a second.
Honestly, there isn't one. There is absolutely no best blood type. The crucial takeaway here is that whether you're a universal donor or universal recipient, every single blood group has its own unique compatibility pattern, and every donation has the potential to save a life. Your specific biology matters deeply, and hospitals rely on every single type to keep the entire medical system running.
And hey, while we're on the topic of biology, we need to do a quick reality check. On one hand, we have this rigid, beautifully complex science we just learned about, these life-saving compatibility patterns. But on the other hand, we have popular stereotypes. You know, like blood type horoscopes, the claim being type A automatically makes you super detail-oriented, or that type B means you're highly creative. Scientifically speaking, those personality claims are completely unestablished. Fiction.
Which brings us to a really wonderful quote directly from our source material. Your blood type is fascinating, but it doesn't define your personality. The complex biological markers on your red blood cells dictate how your immune system responds to a transfusion, not whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. And honestly, the actual science of your biology is awe-inspiring enough all on its own without making stuff up.
I really hope this explainer gave you a deeper appreciation for the amazing microscopic bouncers and markers flowing through your veins right at this very moment. Just a quick reminder, this explainer is strictly for educational purposes, and it's definitely not a substitute for medical advice. But it does leave us with one final fascinating thought. As science continues to map the microscopic world within us, what other incredible secrets might your specific blood type be hiding? Keep decoding your health, and thanks for learning with me today.